Hi guys, and welcome to Gas City Gaming's Ixalan set review. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at all of the multicolored cards, the colorless cards, as well as the lands. So when you're watching these videos, though, keep in mind we're looking at the cards more in the context of a limited set review. So we're talking about, your sealed events, drafts, your pre-release, for example. If I think a card is good enough to make it into standard or other constructed formats, I'll mention it. But for the most part, we're taking a look at in limited environments. So let's get started with our first card for the multicolored cards. Admiral Becket Brass. Have to be careful how I say that. It's generic, a blue, a black, and a red, so Grixis colors, for a mythic human pirate. It's a legendary creature, and it's a 3/3. Now, other pirates you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your end step, gain control of target non-land permanent controlled by a player who has dealt combat damage by 3 or more pirates this turn. Now, I do like Admiral Becket Brass. Any kind of lord or lady, essentially in this case. Is that what we're calling these now? Because we had lords. If you're newer to Magic, lords are things that pump other creatures of the same creature type, but the admiral here is female, so I guess we'll call her a lady. So the lady effect, like this, is good because obviously the Grixis colors in this set are our pirate colors. Red, blue, green, or red, blue, black are our pirate colors in this set. So if we can pump all those, awesome. If we can get 3 pirates through, because there are, I think there's a few that are evasive, right? Or because we can drop this on turn 4, swing, and then just steal something from your opponent. That's awesome. But to me, the second clause, if I'm already hitting with 3 different creatures, I'm probably winning anyway. It's going to be effective in the case that, if you hit the dinosaur deck or the big stompy deck before they get their big stompy things out, this helps you, stay going wide. Because that's what the pirate deck wants to do. It wants to go wide. It wants to be evasive, either through having things like menace, unblockable, or flying, or just having so many creatures you can't block them all. So in that case, Admiral Becket Brass could be unlimited. Standard, I don't see it really going anywhere because I don't know that there's enough pirates where I want to play the Admiral here because I have enough pirates in my deck. But I'm still going to play this. If I open her, I'm going to be happy because it's also going to make a really cool commander, first of all. But if I open her, I'm going to be really happy because I want to play all 3 colors if I can. I usually try and go 3 color. You can get some support to some fixing, stuff like that. It's going to be a good card. So I'd be happy including the Admiral here in my deck. The Belligerent Brontodon is 5 generic mana, a green and a white for a 4/6 uncommon dinosaur. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Now, a lot of the dinosaurs we've seen, granted this is a green-white dinosaur, a lot of the creatures we've seen, though, aren't necessarily having more toughness than power, so this may not even be good for you if you do this. The Deadeye Dinosaur deck tends to be more aggressive and have higher power or equal power to toughness rather than higher. So there are a lot of, like, if you've just come from the green review, there are a lot of other 7-drops I'd have in my deck rather than this one personally. So I'm not super high, unfortunately, on the Belligerent Brontodon. Call to the Feast I am very high on, though, however. For the Vampire deck, it is a 2 generic mana, a white and a black. For an uncommon sorcery, it says create 3 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink. So there is a 3-drop that lets you create 2. Here's a 4-drop that lets you create 3, and all of a sudden you have 5 1/1s with lifelink. You're going pretty wide. So I'm happy to pick up a couple of Call to the Feasts for my trouble. I'm more than happy playing even multiples of this card because late game buys you a bunch of blockers, gains you a little life, nothing wrong with that. So Call to the Feast I am really much enjoying, can't wait to play this in what I hope to force a vampire deck. Alright. Deadeye Plunderers, 3 generic mana, a blue and a black for a 3/3, it's an uncommon human pirate. Deadeye Plunderers gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control, and you may pay 2 generic mana, a blue and a black, to create a treasure. Treasure says tap, sack this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So it can pump itself, which is good. It will probably, when it comes in, if you're playing a pirate deck, it will probably be more than a 3/3, which is good. If you happen to have the Admiral, the big mythic legendary card, it's bigger yet. So I'm pretty excited about playing Deadeye Plunderers. If you happen to get kind of that blue-black pirate deck, the more Dirtle-centric pirate deck, and you get the Riches card that if you get more than 10 treasures you win, this is a card you want with that because this becomes gigantic if you have a bunch of treasures. Plus, it just pumps those out slowly and lets you eventually win when you get more treasures. So I'm pretty excited about Deadeye Plunderers. This is one of those cards that makes me want to play Pirates. That makes me want to play the Dirtle deck. That's not usually my style. I like kind of the Aristocrats or just Big Red Jund or Naya Stompy for my limited environments. But this is one of the cards that makes me want to try Pirates. It's tempting. Direfleet Captain is a black and a red for an uncommon orc pirate. He's a 2/2. Whenever it attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each other attacking pirate. So this is one of those cards that, you know, your opponent isn't going to want to block this. They're going to want to block your other stuff because hopefully you're going wide with a bunch of your pirates. So in the Grixis pirate deck, Grixis or red-black pirate deck, this is a card you definitely want. You know, pack 2 if you're picking a lot of red and black pirates. Pack 3 maybe even if you happen to get one. Pack 3 might go late because if I don't have pirate cards, I don't want this in pack 3, so I'm going to pass it. You might get lucky picking some up. In sealed decks, you might get a few other pirates in these color combinations, so it might be good, but sometimes this is just going to be a 2/2 or attacking as a 3/3, maybe a 4/4. Draft, this is going to be better than sealed, though. Past that, again, like I said, I don't think there's going to be enough pirates yet with just this set out to get anything significant. So, Gishath, Sun's Avatar, is 5 generic mana and Naya colors, so red, green, white, for a mythic legendary creature, Dinosaur Avatar. It's a 7/6 with Trample, Vigilance, and Haste. Whenever Gishath, Sun's Avatar, that's a heck of a handler. Sun's Avatar deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put any number of dinosaur creature cards from among them onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is the dinosaur card I want to open and play. This is Bomb. If you haven't heard my kind of limited philosophy, you have your bombs, you have your removal, you have your value creatures and pump and stuff, and then you have your maybe 20th to 23rd cards that are kind of meh. Gishath here is one of my top bombs. If I open this, I know what I'm playing. First pick, first pack, open this. Okay, I'm looking for Naya dinosaurs now, I guess. Because it's going to come down turn 8, hopefully a little earlier if you get a couple guys that help you ramp, or the enchantment that helps you ramp. Maybe turn 6 or 7. Drop this on turn 6, you should just win, really. So how this works, if you, for example, if this tramples over your opponent's blocker and deals 2 to them, you reveal the top 2. If there's a dinosaur in there, put it on. That's just good. Play it. Obviously, watch your curve because it is an 8-drop, but play it. You're going to have a good time. Getting to 8 mana in this format is not going to be unheard of. Despite all the big aggressive dinosaurs we're seeing, games aren't going to end on turn 5, turn 6 a lot. You're going to get later game, you're going to get to 8 mana. So Gishath here is not out of the realm of possibility, and if he's at all possible, I want to play him. Hostagetaker is 2 generic mana, a blue and a black for a rare human pirate. It's a 2/3. When Hostagetaker enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature until it leaves the battlefield. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. You may spend mana as or mana of any type to cast that spell. Now, from Aether Revolt, I believe it was, Gonti was one of my favorite cards because you got to steal your opponent's stuff. This is going to steal something of your opponent's that is already on the battlefield. So if you drop this on turn 4, this is good early in that it helps keep up your tempo for your Black Blue Pirate deck. It's good late because you get to steal your opponent's big thing. So I'm a big fan of Hostagetaker. Again, this is one of the multicolored pirate cards, are the cards that make me want to get into pirates. This card and our other black-blue one there, the Plunderers, really make me want to play pirates, and I'm excited to play a Hostagetaker if I get it. If I don't get a dream dinosaur deck or a dream vampire deck, I'm excited to play the pirates, honestly. Now we see our first multicolored, our new planeswalker for this set is Huatli, Warrior Poet. I apologize if I'm getting that name wrong. 3 generic mana, a red and a white for a mythic legendary planeswalker, Huatli. It comes in at 3 loyalty. Notice they have legendary creature type now. So, for example, if later on in some kind of constructed or casual format you're playing this Huatli and the Huatli from the intro deck, you can have them both on the field at the same time because they are not the same one. Just like how, for example, now you can have Jace cunning the new Jace and other Jaces on the field at the same time. As long as you don't have the exact same one out, you can have all the Jaces now if you want, and that's cool. Thank goodness they did that after old Gideon rotated out. So on to Huatli's ability. So she comes in at 3 as for a 5 mana planeswalker. Her +2 says you gain life equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. This is probably going to go in your Naya dinosaur deck, so it's probably going to be 3 to 5 life at least, because it's equal to power. So she's going to go to 5 and gain you some life. Her 0 says create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample. Awesome, so she protects herself. And her -X, her alternate, says Watley Warrior Poet deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures. Creatures dealt damage this way can't block this turn. So she can come in, if the board's kind of stalled out, say you both have some creatures, and she can come in at 5 mana, -3, that can't block, that can't block, that can't block, swing in for 12, and probably win at that point. So because of that, I'm excited. If I open a Watley, I'm in a dinosaur deck, super excited to play her, because okay, that can't block, that can't block, that can block, swing my dinosaurs in and I win. And if not that, then, okay, make a dinosaur, make a dinosaur, make a dinosaur, -3, now your things can't block, and now I win because I've hit you for a bunch. Or gain some life if I'm behind. You're probably going to want to protect her the turn she comes down, though, if you don't have creatures out already. But in a board stall, like will happen in Limited, she can just hit the board and win you the game almost immediately. So because of that, I like Watley Warrior Poet in aggressive decks. This is definitely going to be a good thing. I can see her getting into Standard, if only because of that -X, right? For 5 mana, 3 things can't block this turn. That's not bad. So I can potentially, I'm not a Standard guru, again, by any means, but I can see her getting in there just because of that. In aggressive decks, she creates dinosaurs to crew vehicles, from Mardu vehicles. You can then remove a counter from her and crew your Heart of Kirin. You can -X her if you already have a bunch of creatures out, a bunch of vehicles crewed, but they have blockers. You can -X her to make your things unblockable. You can gain life, crew something, gain life. It's I like Watley, our Warrior Poet. I hope we see a new Planeswalker come out again. Like, I got a little tired of the Gatewatch, but small personal sidetrack here. I get a little tired of the Gatewatch. I don't just want to solve these same 5 Planeswalkers around the multiverse. I want new Planeswalkers. I want previous new Planeswalkers returning. Like, there's rumors of, a green-red Planeswalker returning, Domri Rod. There's rumors of Domri returning. So that'd be cool. I want to hear more about these other Planeswalkers that we get to meet that we never hear from again, right? Maybe we can get a good Tybalt. Who knows? But we're not on Innistrad anymore, so Anyway, so Watley, Warrior Poet, I do like her, and I hope we get to see more of her in the future, and more of her in competitive play, too. It'd be nice. Marauding Looter. It's 2 generic mana, a blue and a red, for an uncommon human pirate at 4/3, and has Raid. At the beginning of your end step, if you attack with a creature this turn, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So you get to loot if you attack. That's good. I like this card in your pirate deck. You want to have a lot of raid triggers. You want to be attacking. You want to be going wide. The hard part of that is fueling it. So if you can draw and discard a card and card filter like that, you got to fuel it. So in your Grixis pirate deck, or your red-blue pirate deck even, or even your red-blue just generic deck, Marauding Looter is going to be good. It's 4/3 body for 4, which is fine, and it gets you to loot cards. Card filtering is always good. So I like Marauding Looter in your pirate deck, and it's easily splashable as well. If you're playing black-blue pirates, this is one of the things you can splash red for and throw a couple mountains in your land base. So I do like Marauding Looter. I'd play her for sure. Raging Swordtooth, 3 generic mana, a red and a green for an uncommon dinosaur at 5/5. So 5/5 for 5, has trample. When it enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage to each other creature. That's fine. This is going to do real good against those decks that are token-based or X1 based, so against some pirate decks. Because there are a lot of X1 pirates, X1 merfolk, vampires, although kills all their 1/1s immediately as soon as it comes in. And it's just a 5/5 for 5 with trample. If I open one, I'm going to play it. This is one of those things that says, hey, here's a dinosaur, here's how you play dinosaurs. You play them, you turn them sideways, and you kill things with dinosaurs. That's a lot of these uncommons that are made to go into these formats. Like, Marauding Looter is made to go in the pirate deck. It tells you the colors you play, it tells you how you play it with the raid trigger. Raging Swordtooth tells you the colors you play, it tells you how you play it, you turn it sideways. So it's made to go in that deck, so it's good because it's supposed to go in that deck. Play it. You're going to have fun. Regisaur Alpha, 3 generic mana, a red and a green for a 4/4 rare dinosaur. Other dinosaurs you control have haste. That's real good. A lot of them don't. For example, our last card just had trample. Active had trample and haste and got to swing into a damaged board because it did 1 to everything just then. When it enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample. Oh, don't forget, other dinosaurs you control have haste. Yep. So this is 7 power and 7 toughness across 2 creatures, half of which has haste. That's good. That's real good. Regisaur Alpha, it's bomb rare for your dinosaur deck. First pick, play it, not a problem. I see this first pick, first pack. Okay, I'm playing dinosaurs. This is another one of those. Shapers of Nature, 1 generic mana, 1 green and 1 blue for a 3/3 uncommon Merfolk Shaman. You may pay 3 generic mana and a green to put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Alright, cool. You may pay 2 generic mana and a blue to remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control and draw a card. Cool. I'm playing this. I don't even necessarily have to go Merfolk for this, but that's just where most of your green and blue cards are going to go. But I would potentially splash this in something else, just to have that. Okay, mana sink, putting a counter on things is always good. If you watch the green review, we talked about the flip land that lets you make a bunch of green mana. This is what you use that for. Okay, make creature bigger, make creature bigger, make creature bigger, make creature bigger, and eventually you're just going to win because you made your creatures gigantic, and your opponent can't attack in. You're going to start attacking in, chipping away at their board, and eventually chipping away at their life total, and if you do that enough, you're going to win. So I do like Shapers of Nature. It makes me tempted if I'm going red-green dinosaurs, if I'm not going full Naya. This is something I might splash for in that deck, honestly. Because I like it, and you could remove, like, if you don't have a ton of removal, you can get some blue in there to help tap and keep things tapped or help bounce things. Play kind of like tempo dinosaurs almost, I guess. And Shapers of Nature would find a home in that deck pretty easily. Skyterror is a red and a white for an uncommon 2/2 dinosaur with flying and menace. This is a good card if you're in 9 of dinosaurs, absolutely, because 2/2 flyer for 2 is just good. The fact that it has menace is great. Oh, so your opponent's sideboard's in their 1 reach creature? Okay, too bad this has menace. Their 1 reach creature can't block it. That 1 flyer they play, that 2/3 they played, can't block it because this has menace. This is going to get in when their flyer can't block it because they only have 1. So Skyterror, because of that, is a really good card. I'm definitely throwing it in my dinosaur deck. In the Naya build of the dinosaur deck. Again, this is something you would splash white for, because with green, you can be a little weak to flyers, whereas this would at least help you in there in case of, you don't get those good reach dinosaurs we talked about. Tishana, Voice of Thunder, 5 generic mana, a green and a blue for a mythic legendary creature Merfolk Shaman as a star, because Tishana's Voice of Thunder's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. You have no maximum hand size. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card for each creature you control. Now, it's going to cost 7. It comes in as a 3/4. 3 as a 3/3 or a 4/4. This is a good commander card, in my opinion. Because it could be gigantic. You're no maximum hand size, but this makes me nervous in a limited environment. Because in the blue-green deck, you're not going to have a ton of creatures. It's not the vampire deck. It's not the pirate deck. You're probably not going wide. It's going to come in, be probably at most a 5/5, and draw you 5 cards, granted. So, but drawing 5 cards is big. If you don't have any other big bombs, play this. That's where I'm sitting at it. If you're weak, if you don't have any of the big bombs, you're going to play this. If you're in these colors, you're going to play this because it's a big bomb splashy effect. It's going to draw you a few cards. If you're in that kind of tempo Sultai deck, maybe tempo dinosaurs, play this. But for my play style, I'd rather try Smash and Face, personally. I can see how this can be good. I'm not saying it's a bad card, it's just not matching my play style. I'm more excited to play with this in Commander, personally. Vona, Butcher of McGann, is 3 generic mana, a white and a black for a mythic legendary creature, Vampire Knight. It's a 4/4, has vigilance and lifelink. You may tap, pay 7 life, destroy target non-land permanent. Activate this ability only during your turn. Loving this. So 4/4 vigilance lifelink for 5. Happy with that body already. The fact that I can gain life, pay life and kill something just with a tap is great. In the vampire deck, I'm going to be gaining life anyway, a ton with all the tokens and stuff. So very happy. Vona, Butcher of McGann, Megan, I'm assuming it's not pronounced Megan, so it's McGann, is going to be a great card for your vampire deck, obviously. Play it in there, you're going to be happy with it. On its own, it's going to be better in the draft vampire deck than the sealed deck because you're going to get to draft more synergistically than you probably are going to get sealed-wise. So draft, I'm very happy to open this because if you haven't watched the other reviews, I'm really excited to play that vampire deck. That aristocrat style is how I do. So happy about Vona, Butcher of McGann. Vraska, Relic Seeker, other planeswalker from the set, our final one, I believe, in this review. 4 generic mana, a black and a green for a mythic legendary planeswalker Vraska. So if you have your Return to Ravaging of Vraska, you can play her too in the same deck at the same time. Comes in at 6 loyalty and immediately can +2 up to 8 for 6 mana, so it's getting pretty high. Create a create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with menace. So protects herself with her +/3. Destroy target artifact, creature, or enchantment. Create a colorless treasure token with tap, sack, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. And -10 is target player's life total becomes 1. Seems good. Any planeswalker is good limited, so if you're at all in these colors, I would even splash for without any issues. I would splash for without hesitation. Playing red-green dinosaurs, pull different Raska. Playing red-green-black dinosaurs now. All right, but very happy with her, so going to move immediately into standard. I think she has the black-green deck right now is kind of mid-rangey, maybe tending a little more towards aggressive, but I think there's a place for Vraska in there in a more control-y build of it, which I really like, because I like Vraska. Obviously, she's done great in Limited. I've seen her do great in Limited. I want to see her do good in Standard as well. I want to see all the Planeswalkers do good in Standard. Maybe I'm a little biased, but they put a lot of effort into these cards. They're supposed to be big story points, big splashy cards in the world of Magic, so I want to see these do well and see the play that they deserve, really. They're big special characters, and they deserve to be big on the tabletop. So I hope Vraska does see some constructed play as well. Not going any further deep into Modern or anything, just some Standard play. Good mid-range Planeswalker, in my opinion. Because she makes creatures to make your board more... your board presence bigger, kills things if she has to kill things, just like old Vraska did, and just has a great ult that you can pop on the 3rd turn she's in. She drops +2 to 8, next turn +2 to 10, next turn make your opponents 1, drain them, win. So you can win on turn 8 if you drop Vraska. If your opponent can't kill it. Your opponent has 2 turns to kill Vraska. If they can't, they lose. That seems good. I think she's going to see play because of that. So into our artifact cards, or colorless cards, Cobble Wings is our first equipment. It's 2 generic mana for a common artifact equipment. Equip creature has flying, equip 1. So this is the kind of thing I might even throw in like Dinosaur deck because things are weak to flying. Imagine Ancient Brontodon wearing some Cobbled Wings. That would look hilarious, first of all. Second of all, it would be terrifying because it's a 9/9 flyer. So, Cobbled Wings is the kind of thing I would throw on. And then after you play it, like if you don't have a turn 2 play in your Dinosaur deck, drop your Cobbled Wings. From then on, any dinosaur you play has kicker 1. This has flying. Oh, that's good. So Cobbled Wings is something I would definitely play in sealed. Evasion is something you want. Dusk Legion Dreadnought, first vehicle of the set. 5 generic mana for a uncommon artifact vehicle, Vigilance, crew 2, and it's a 4/6. So this is something we've seen, you know, play turn 2, your X2, or sorry, your 2X, and then you're going to have a 4/6 on turn 5. With Vigilance is the big thing. It has a bigger booty than it does power, so it's going to be able to just blimp charge into your opponent's board a lot and kill a lot of stuff, really. So I wouldn't be upset about playing Dusk Legion Dreadnought. A nice thing is because it's only crew 2, you're going to be able to fit this in your Pirate decks and your Vampire decks pretty easily too. So I do like it. It is one of my... I don't want to play a ton of vehicles because this takes up a slot from my pump or my... because I don't count these as creatures when I play them, right? If I play maybe 15 creatures, a couple vehicles, and 6 or 7 pump or kill spells, removal spells. That's kind of where I sit with vehicles. 2 or 3 of those. So eventually they take up like half a non-creature spell slot and half a creature spell slot when I play them. So it's not a full creature because it isn't. It can't block or attack on its own, so I'm not counting it as a creature. But a Dusk Legion Dreadnought is a vehicle I'd be happy playing. Elaborate Fire Cannon, 2 generic mana for an uncommon artifact. It doesn't untap during your untap step. You may pay 4 and tap it, and it deals 2 damage to target creature or player. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may discard a card. If you do, untap Elaborate Fire Cannon. So I gotta pay a card and 4 to deal 2 damage to a creature or planeswalker or a player. That's too much for me. I'm not touching Elaborate Fire Cannon. Fell Flagship is 3 generic mana for a rare artifact vehicle. It's a 3/3. Pirates you control get +1/+0. Whenever Fell Flagship deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. Has crew 3. Now keep in mind, if you play a 2X, it will be able to crew this because it will get +1/+0 as long as it's a pirate, right? So keep that in mind. So this is your 3-drop, so turn 2, you play your 2X. I'd play our Fell Flagship here. It's aggressively costed, makes your opponent discard, which is something you want to do in some of your aggressive decks. So I'd be fine with playing a Fell Flagship. It's not super aggressive. It's a good Dirtle deck card. I want to try and give it some kind of evasiveness. I wish it had flying. I'd pay 4 mana for it if it had flying. It'd be nice. because I want to give it some kind of evasiveness so it can hit, so it can make my opponent discard. But hey, you can't ask the world of everything. A Gilded Sentinel is a 4-mana, 3/3 artifact creature golem. This is tailor-made for that slot I was talking about. If you're on your 20 to 23rd cards and you have a really poor pool, you'll play your Gilded Sentinel. You're not necessarily going to be happy about it, but you'll play it. Hierophant's Chalice is 3 generic mana for a common artifact. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent lose 1 life and you gain 1 life. You may tap to add a colorless to your mana pool. It's a mana rock. It doesn't even produce colored mana, so I'm not super happy about playing it. I'd rather play one of the creatures or like the enchantment that ramps me and gains me life than the Hierophant's Chalice. So I'm not super pumped about it, but if you're in the Dirtle deck, you might want to play it. It's up to you, really, but I'd rather play something that does something for me rather than just drain and gain once. Pillar of Origins is 2 generic mana for an uncommon artifact. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type. This is what I would play rather than Hierophant's Chalice. Yes, I know it's uncommon compared to common, but I'm way more excited to play this, even though because it produces colored mana, especially in a draft, because you're able to go more synergistic and tribal in a draft for Pillar of Origins. But if you get a Pillar of Origins, look at your creature types. What do you have the most of? That's what you're playing, and this ramps you into those. And you're probably going to have more of something you want to play a lot of, right? Pirate's Cutlass, 3 generic mana for a common artifact equipment. When it enters the battlefield, attach to the target pirate you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+1. If you're playing the pirate deck, this is an auto-include. Otherwise than that, I don't necessarily like it, but pirate decks, yes. So draft, yes. Sealed, if you open a decent amount of pirates, play it, because hey, you want to pump one of them for 2/1, or after that, just kicker +2/+1, I'm fine with that. So I do like Pirate's Cutlass for sure in the pirate deck, obviously. In any other deck, it's okay. Prying Blade is 1 generic mana for a common artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a colorless treasure artifact token. It has equip 2. So this isn't great. If you have a lot of evasiveness in your deck, like you say playing black-white flyers or something like that, I might play it, because then you're guaranteed, well, you're not guaranteed, but you should be hitting a lot more. And it lets you hit for 1 more damage and lets you ramp into some other things, gives you more options. If you happen to have the enchantment that cares about having treasures, or say the blue-black pirate that gets pumped depending on treasures, it could be good. So in certain situations, Prying Blade could be good, but I'm definitely not a vanilla just yes, play it. But in the right decks, you want to play Prying Blade in those situations I talked about. Sentinel Totem, 1 generic mana for an uncommon artifact. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1. You may tap it, exile Sentinel Totem, exile all cards from all graveyards. This could make it into Standard, because there's a lot of graveyard shenanigans going into Standard, and it scries, and it's 1 mana. So turn 1, Sentinel Totem, pass to your opponent. Okay, what you gonna do? You play in your graveyard deck. This is the Tormod script we get now, basically. So I limited, it has its uses, but it's probably going to be a sideboard card, because it's not something I want to use a main deck slot for, but it's going to have its sideboard purposes in limited, but it's getting into Standard to help out with graveyard shenanigans. I believe that's why they printed it. Shadowcarrabelle is 2 generic mana for a rare artifact vehicle, and it's a 2/2. Whenever a creature you control explores, put a +1/+1 counter on Shadowcarrabelle, and has crew 2. So this is, if you're looking through your Explore deck and you happen to pull this, if you pull this in your sealed pool, you're immediately looking through all your cards, what explores, what explores, what explores. Because your creature is going to get bigger if it explores, possibly, and Shadowcarrabelle will get it bigger if you explore. So this is auto-included in your Explore deck, obviously. Other than that, it's okay, but you don't want to be playing this if you don't have any Explore, because it's just a 2/2 for 2 with crew 2. So you already have a 2x that you're using to crew another 2/2, so it's pointless. But in your Explore deck, this is Shadowcarrabelle is going to do work. Sleek Schooners, 3 generic mana for an uncommon artifact vehicle. It's a 4/3 with crew 1. So this is the kind of thing that is going to do some work for you as well, because you can keep back like a 1/1 vampire and attack with your 4/3 instead on turn 4. That's why I like Sleek Schooner. This is the kind of uncommon, good value vehicle that I like to play. That's good in any deck, because you're going to have 1x's in any deck. So I do like Sleek Schooner. If, like I said, if you are hurting for good creatures, I'd be fine with playing one. Because it turns your creature, maybe even a token, into a 4/3, essentially, right? And I like that. I like Sleek Schooner. Sorceress Spyglass. It's 2 generic mana for a rare artifact. When it enters the battlefield, look at an opponent's hand, then choose any card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So this turns off your planeswalkers. This turns off mana sync abilities, that kind of thing. Where when it says tap, untap a land, that is not a mana ability, that's untapping a land ability, so it turns off that kind of thing. This is going to be a sideboard card if you know your opponent has a planeswalker. You find that out in game 1. If you know your opponent has something like a big stompy mythic like the green X green to awaken a land, this turns that off. So this is going to be a really good sideboard card for that. But past that, I don't know. Standard, kind of, this is Pithing Needle. This is the Pithing Needle we get now, I guess. So I can see it making it into there, making it into standard in order to do something like that. Vanquishers Banner is 5 generic mana for a rare artifact. As Vanquishers Banner enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, draw a card. I'm throwing this in most of my decks unless I'm really spread out across creature types. I'm throwing this in most of them. Oh, what's that? I casted all my dinosaurs get +1/+1. And I draw a card every time I cast Dinosaur? Okay. That seems good. Because that's usually where that kind of deck is hurting, is in that it runs out of gas. But, oh, cast Dinosaur, refuel. Cast Dinosaur, refuel. Cast Dinosaur, refuel. And it also pumps everything. Or same thing for your Pirate deck. So it's going to help that out for sure, because Pirates kind of need that pump. They're smaller on their own to compete with Dinosaurs. They rely on Swarm. So if you can make your Swarm bigger, it's that much better. So Vanquisher's Banner isn't going to be included unless you're really spread out across creature types. You'll count your creature types and you got like 4, 4, 4, 3. Maybe even then, but because it's not such a big thing, I wouldn't necessarily do it. But if you're draft, for sure, because like we've said, more synergistic, more tribal in your drafts than you are sealed events. So sealed, like pre-releases, take a look at your pool, count up your creature types. If you think this is worth it, then include it. Conquerors Galleon is 4 generic mana for a rare artifact vehicle. When Conquerors Galleon attacks, exile it at the end of combat, then return it to the battlefield transformed under your control. Crew 4. It's a 2/10 on its own. And it comes back as Conqueror's Foothold. It's a land. Taps for colorless mana. You can pay 2 and tap it to draw a card, then discard a card. You can pay 4 and tap to draw a card. You can pay 6 and tap it to return target card from your graveyard to your hand. So in the Dirtle Pirate deck, I'm throwing this in there. But in like good aggressive decks, I'm not throwing this in there. But in the right environment, you can use this to block all day, is a thing. It's crew 4, it's a 2/10, so you can use it to block big dinosaurs and stuff all day, so you might just want to use it at that rather than attacking with it. But if you are in a controlling position, you can attack with it and then use the abilities on the backside to help you draw cards, discard cards, to find your answers, to find your removal, to get you to the point where you're winning the game instead of just controlling the game. So in that kind of deck, I do like Conquerors Galleon / Foothold. Not really otherwise. Ins for sealed. Standard, I don't think it's quite good enough for that. Yeah, sorry. Dowsing Dagger, 2 generic mana for a rare artifact equipment. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 2 0/2 green plant creature tokens with Defender. Equipped creature gets +2/+1. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may transform it. Has equipped 2. So already, preferably, puts on something with trample if you can. Or something that's unblockable. It transforms into Lost Veil. Add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool. So this really helps you ramp if you can get through with it. Problem is, you give your opponent blockers. So if you don't put this on something with some kind of evasion or trample or anything, it's not going to transform. If you can get this on a dinosaur early to ramp yourself into bigger dinosaurs, great. But real iffy. This is either going to be a trap or it's going to win you the game. That's the thing. It's going to be one or the other. So, and if you can flip it, it's going to win you the game. Primal Amulet is 4 generic mana for a rare artifact. Instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less. To cast, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a charge counter on Primal Amulet. Then, if there are 4 or more charge counters on it, you remove those counters and transform it. Transforms into Primal Wellspring. It's a land that says tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. When that mana is spent to cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy that spell, and you may choose new targets for that copy. Now, like we've said, Most decks playing 15, 16 creatures, you're having 7 or 8 non-creature spells. Okay. 7 or 8 non-creature spells. 1 or 2 enchantments. So, you know, 5 to 7 instants and sorceries, possibly. This is one of your non-creatures, so there's already 4 to 6 instants and sorceries. And that's being a little generous as well. Now, you have to cast 4 instants or sorceries in order to put 4 charge counters on this. That's if this is already out. If you cast your instant sorceries before you cast this, you might not even be able to ever flip it. Yes, it's nice to get them cheaper, okay, whatever, but you could also ramp into something. So I'm not a big fan of Primal Amulet in Limited because of that, because you need to play creatures in Limited. So I'm not a big fan of Primal Amulet in that. Past that, I can see this being really good in control decks in Standard. Because their controlling deck, turn 4, they drop this make stuff cheaper, they cast, you know, some draws, opts, whatever. They get this, in which, okay, I cast opt. I can copy that spell, and I'm going to draw 2 cards. I'm going to opt twice for the 1 blue. That's going to be really good. So I can see this making the Standard because of that, but Limited, I'm not a big fan. Somatic Compass is 2 generic mana for a rare artifact, 3 generic mana, and a tap lets you search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Beginning of your end step, if you control 7 or more lands, transform Somatic Compass into Spires of Raska. It says it's a land. It can tap to add a colorless to your mana pool, and it can tap, untap target attacking creature an opponent controls, and remove it from combat. Maze of Ith. Maze of Ith is really good. Thematic Compass is something I'm playing in my deck because Maze of Ith is really good. What's that? It's permanently negates your opponent's best creature. Okay. It also just, if you're at the end of your opponent's turn and they didn't do anything, you can tap, search your library for base land card, put your hand, so you guarantee your next land drop. But it just flips on you because you play Magic, because you're going to be getting to 7 land half the time. And if I can get a Maze of Ith half the time in my games, I want to get a Maze of Ith half the time. So I am personally playing with Thematic Compass, for sure. And Spires of Raska, same card. Treasure Map is 2 generic mana for a rare artifact. It says 1, tap. Scry 1, put a landmark counter on Treasure Map. Then if there are 3 or more landmark counters on it, remove those counters, transform Treasure Map, and create 3 treasures. Treasure Cove, that it transforms into, taps to add a colorless to your mana pool, or you can tap, sacrifice a treasure, draw a card. So it fuels itself, which is nice. It's one of those things where you have to have landmark counters on it. So it's a good just mana sink, can be, because it'll just let you draw cards. So in like a dirtily pirate deck, which is kind of cool because you want to play Treasure Map in the pirate deck. But in a dinosaur deck or an aggressive deck, I don't want to play this. But in the dirtle, control-y tempo deck, this is something I want to play. Yeah, so it's a good card. In those kinds of decks. Again, not every deck wants to play this, but in those kinds of decks, for sure. Now we're into our land cycle. So our rares that we're getting from this are what we call buddy lands. I believe these were last printed in, what, Innistrad block? Somebody comment below if I'm wrong. But, for example, Dragon Skull Summon here enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp or mountain, and it adds black or red to your pool. Just as Drowned Catacomb enters, it adds tapped unless you control an island or swamp, and it adds blue or black. So we call them the buddy lands because they need a buddy. I believe these were last in original Innistrad block. So those are our 5 lands, so you might not all be in sequence here because it went alphabetically, but... So Field of Ruin here, for example, is an uncommon land. Taps to add colorless to your mana pool. You may pay to sack it, destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. Each player searches his or her library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle his or her library. This might be something I do if I notice my opponent has one of the legendary flip lands or one of these rare lands that we've just been going over. Then I might bring this out of the sideboard in order to do that, but I'm not putting this main deck because I want colored mana main deck. Glacial Fortress is our blue-white buddy land. Rootbound Crag is our gruel-colored mainland, red-green. And Sunpetal Grove is our white-green dual land. So all these, if you open them, keep them, play them if you're in those colors, obviously, they're just good. They're just good. I like the original Sunpetal Grove art better. Unclaimed Territory is an uncommon land. As Unclaimed Territory enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You may also tap to add a colorless mana to your mana pool. You may also tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type. So it's kind of like our totem that we had earlier, but it's a land itself. And it can also just add colorless if it's not a creature spell of that type. So Unclaimed Territory is the kind of fixing that can definitely help you if you're playing a 3-color deck, like 3-color Dinosaurs or something like that, or Grixis Pirates. You want to include this in your deck, because it just taps your land on its own if you're casting an instant or sorcery, something say, but it will help you fix further. So I'm definitely, if I'm 3-color, I'm playing an Unclaimed Territory or 2 if I get them. Unknown Shores is a reprint. It's a common land. You can tap to add a colorless to your mana pool. You may pay 1 and tap it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So this doesn't ramp you necessarily, just filters. So this actually de-ramps you. So if you have 5 lands out and one of them is Unknown Shores, you have essentially only have 4 mana because you have to pay 1 in order to make 1. So Unknown Shores here again is your fixing. If you don't happen to pull an Unclaimed Territory, sometimes you have to put up with playing an Unknown Shores. So we'll end up on the Admiral here. So that was all our full set review for Ixalan. I hope you guys had fun. I had fun doing this for you. Again, what do you think of these cards? Are you excited about them? Do you agree with my opinions? Do you disagree? What do you think? I'd love to hear from you in the comment section down below. Hope to see you guys I'm in Madison Hat here if you're local. Hope to see you at the pre-release on Friday at midnight at Comic Readers downtown, or not downtown, on Railway Ave. Hope to see you there. What are you hoping to pull? If you're watching this afterwards, what did you pull? How did it perform to you? Perform for you? Were you hoping for it to be better than it did? You know, what was your pre-release experience like? Again, hope to see you guys there. Hope you have fun with these cards in Ixalan, with the whole set going forward in Standard as well. I know I will. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you guys again.